Hello, crew. Happy Sunday. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our monthly crew chit chat. If you guys have not met me already, I'm Ebony. I'm the owner and founder of LiveSlayCRU. Today, I'm going to be discussing power with my good friend, Phonetic Wisdom. We're going to be dissecting power into 5 segments. And I'm so happy to be here and be chatting with you. So let me add her to the chat and we can get this started. Hi, Daisy.
Hi.
Hi, my love.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. I love your choker.
Hi, yes. I got it
How
just
are
yesterday.
you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yes.
That is
Thank you
good.
for having me.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing good. I'm trying to get myself kind of centered.
You're here.
I
You're
was
here.
around, and then always like before like lives,
Uh-huh.
people think it's a breeze, but my stomach being knots because
Oh.
hold on, my mom's texting me.
And then try to
I'm sorry. I was just texting my mom. She wants to get on the live. So, and she's asking me
Okay.
where's the link, like Facebook, but it's not like Facebook. I'm trying to explain it to her.
Yeah.
Um, okay, thanks. Yeah. So what I was saying, my
Yes.
stomach normally gets in knots because it is not. People think it's easy, but honestly, I just feel like my courage just takes over. And sometimes it's just a need. I have a need to like talk about certain things, especially when like spirit brings it to my attention.
Yeah.
And it's easier sometimes for me to share the spotlight with a good friend and so, a goddess who is knowledgeable, who I believe, and as well, the divine believes is, excuse me, as knowledgeable for us to be able to come together and just create and for us to create and both share this divine message that's supposed to happen today.
Yeah.
Yes. So would you mind just introducing yourself
Uh-huh.
to my crew, letting them know what it is that you do,
Uh-huh.
and just a little about yourself?
Okay, yeah. So I go by Phonetic Wisdom. You know me as Sabrina. That's my name. But yeah, I am still Sabrina. I am all things. And I do poetry, spoken word. I'm a lyricist. I really do create with words. That is truly my gift. And I have a brand for Black women's empowerment. It's called Voices of Black Power. I started that with an artistic showcase, back in 2018, and I started it for Black women, women of the African diaspora who's been impacted by sexual abuse and trauma. And in starting it from that point, I realized it's deeper. The trauma is really deeper. That's one aspect of it, but it's very multi-layered. And so I'm really expanding my awareness and my mission, and giving myself permission to expand, because sometimes I realize you feel like when you start something a certain way, you have to stay in that, and that's not true. God will give you the vision to go forward. Blessings, Miss Moody. God will give you the vision to go forward. So just so you could get started and really see the totality of the work that needs to be done and the work we need to do. And so I remember a brother asking me, like, "Oh, what about the men?" And I said, "Well, where do the men come from? If the woman is not, um, one with herself, aligns in her spirit, her mind, her body, her heart, her soul, then what is the man? Is the man going to be any more than that?" And so I feel like it comes full circle. You know, and
Yeah.
I've really had great success with the few events that I have done for Voices of Black Power. Like, I have so much that I want to do, so much that I'm getting ready to do. So I think that's a really important part of myself that I should share, and I'm working on sharing more. I'm also a
Yes.
financial planner. Um, I'm really like a legal resource specialist. Like, I really, like, if you want information, like, holla at me. Like, I'm really your girl.
Basically, she does all the things.
I do a lot. I do a
She
lot.
does
Sometimes I
all the
forget what I'm
things.
doing. I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. Yeah, you know, I'm a real spiritual
But
entrepreneur,
that's
like
all
you
a part
said.
of being that's all a part of being multidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is such a, like, what you do is extremely powerful. And I love how you said that, you know, when you start something, you think that you're supposed to just be in this one lane and that's it. Like, no, that's not creation. Creation comes from it all the things.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So be proud that you do all the things and you're able to balance all the things. And that's something that we are women are gifted with, being able to balance all the things. It's just being able to recognize your power within to balance all these things and still take care of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so crew, if you guys are not following her already, I shared her live earlier a couple days last week. So if you have not, make sure you check my girl out. And yes, so I knew Sabrina.
Yes.
We knew each other since we were in high school. We went to high school together, and we were both on the step team. And then outside of school, Sabrina and I, we had our moments hanging out, boom, boom, boom. And then, you know, of course, with graduation and our high school unfortunately closing, everybody went their separate ways. But it's so good to, when I finally was able to link back up with you, I seen you in a light that I couldn't imagine you being in this light, because being this powerful being. Like, after not seeing you for a couple of years, I come back and it's like poetry, it's spoken word, it's this, it's that, and I'm like, wow. Like, I was so inspired by it, because I was like, you know, I knew you one way, and, you know, at times people, when they know you as one thing, they don't really give you that grace for you to evolve and be something else, or even be better than who they know you were to be. And I had to realize that it's okay, because sometimes we don't even give ourselves that grace to change or evolve, you know?
Yeah.
So just to see you standing in that power, it was a light for me. And I was like, wow. Like, I was telling my friend the other day, when it came to spirituality and me, and just me trying to reconnect back within myself, I kind of like dip my toe in the water, because I know that I'm very intense and I can get really, really deep into things. And I was a little nervous, because I didn't know what was to come from it. You know, I was scared, honestly.
Yeah.
And just seeing you and a bunch of other women, but, you know, you being in this light and being unafraid, and standing in your power and your personal power, it really gave me that motivation, where it's like, every time I felt like, oh, maybe I'm not, maybe I shouldn't, it was like, boom. But look at, you know, look at Sabrina, she's standing, that's a light. You understand? How do you not look at that light and feel like, okay, I need to try to embody this light that within me, so that I can stand in my power, you know? So it's just so aligning how we're here right now in this moment, and we're talking about power. I know you are a powerful woman. You're just powerful. That's the only thing I could really like put to words right now. It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
But to evolve it, yes. But I know that you are going to be able to contribute a lot to me personally, the crew, your crew as well.
Yeah.
And you know, I just can't wait to get into it. So with power, we're dissecting power into 5 different aspects. It came to me from my guides.
Yes.
I didn't know how else to kind of talk about power without it being I don't want to say boring, without it being just like, okay, everybody talks about power, how, you know, what is power? Because me, myself, I've experienced the memes and the social media of standing your power, being your power, girl power, 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 power. But I myself didn't know what that looked like, felt like. I didn't recognize it. So I can sit there and say, yes, I'm powerful, but if you don't feel it, there's a difference. There's a disconnect between the two.
Yeah.
So we're gonna break down power into 5. We're breaking down the actual word power. So P will be for purpose.
Oh, I love it.
O is gonna be for the openness. W is for wellness. E is for existing versus resisting. And then R is rest and rejuvenation. I feel like that it's all gonna come together.
That was beautiful.
So,
oh my God.
I feel like how we just started off. I think we kind of got into the purpose of power, you know, like just standing in your purpose, knowing what your purpose is, finding your purpose, because sometimes it's hard to, you know, with society's conditioning, you tend to lose that inner child's excitement of, I want to be an astronaut, for example, or I want to be a poet. I remember growing up and I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to do journalism. And I remember my mom telling me, you can't do that. That doesn't make any money. You have to figure out something else.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do something that's going to give you good benefits, good jobs, so you can live your life. And it kind of crushed me. Well, it crushed me.
Yeah.
I went through a lot in high school. People don't know, but I went through a lot in high school trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do in life. Because that dream that I had amongst all the other dreams, because when you're younger, you feel like you can go to the moon. Yeah. You have that courage and that imagination so far out that you can do anything. I was a little, I struggled. I struggled a lot with just trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, well, let me try to do law, because at least with law, it has some of the little journalistic aspects, writing, reading, speaking. But then it's also going to be a career to help me live. Right? Because that's the only way to live is if you have a career. That's what the mentality was then.
Yeah.
So just that purpose of, so, you know, sometimes we get detour. We get on a detour of what our purpose is really supposed to be, what we're supposed to be on this earth doing. And it's okay to find your purpose. Some people tell you, oh, you need to know what your purpose is. This is your purpose. Or they try to tell you what your purpose is.
Yes.
And there's a power in knowing your purpose, knowing that, and even so, if you may not know it wholly, but every day is another day to find out something new about what you're put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
Bars.
Yes. Everything you said.
So
everything you said.
How do you feel about purpose and power? How do you feel about the correlation of the two?
So there's power in knowing your purpose. Because I feel like my experience has been other people, you know, growing up would recognize this thing in me, and I didn't recognize it in myself. And that can be very dangerous, because when people know who you are before you know who you are, they will try to use and manipulate your lack of knowledge or your ignorance of yourself. So really, it's about purpose. It's about knowing yourself, and there's power in knowing yourself. Like, and it is, and I feel like it's something that is unveiled to you on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis. Like, it's not you. I don't feel like you just come into knowing the totality of your purpose, and that's it. I know my purpose to the fullest of the fullest, and there's nothing more for me to know. Like, no, your purpose is slowly revealed to you the more that you step into it.
I think it takes the excitement out of life. If you knew what you were here on this earth to do, because you would just go and do it anyway, and then it's like, all right, that's it.
Yeah,
you know?
Like, what more would there be to life if you knew everything about everything? You wouldn't even want to live. You'd be like, yo, I gotta get up out of here. Like, where's the next level? da da da. Like this, I look at life the same way people play video games. They on one level, they master that level. That level's nothing to them. They go on to the next level with some challenges. They figure it out. Boom, next one. And until you get to that level, you be like, yo, what is going on this level? I cannot, but you can. It's just you have to use another part of your mind that you have yet to access. And purpose is like, purpose is really like, I know that regardless of whatever I end up doing, my purpose is truly to like deliver a message. And so using this, my throat chakra is very important to me in this life, because when I speak, people truly do listen. And now that means I have to really be intentional with my words and how I articulate myself, because people will really believe me the way that I say something as if it's truth. And if they don't know themselves, you know, it can create a world of problems. Whereas now I'm speaking on a certain level to people who really aren't there yet, and they can misconstrue what I'm saying. And so being very intentional with your words, be mindful of your words, because knowing that you have that power and that is your purpose, if you can take your power either way. You could go left, you could go right, but you better find some grounding in the middle. You better balance, because you don't want to start creating a world that you don't even want to live in, because everything we say will come to pass. There's life and death in the power of the tongue. And knowing that I live to embody that so that someone else can learn from me, that is a great lesson that I'm here to teach. And so I think that's like the best way right now I can like put purpose, because it's so expansive. Like even talking about it, it's like, can I really fully express and describe the meaning of purpose? I can give it to you as best as I can at the level of consciousness that I'm at. But whoever is meant to receive that will receive that. Whoever's head is supposed to go over it is just, you ain't get up there yet to like really catch it. And it's cool, because I've been there. We all been there. How many times we hear our elders say something and we don't know what the hell they talking in circles to us? They talking in parables. But life is a riddle. It's a puzzle. It's a mystery. And you have to let it unfold.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And I've been going through a season in my life where I go back now and I'm like, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Auntie.
Yes.
Like my aunt, especially my aunt. My aunt used to get on my nerves.
Yeah.
She used to talk, but then as I got older, it wasn't even like me hearing her in my head. It's the situation happening, and it's like that enlightened moment where it's like, oh, this is what my aunt, or this is what my elder was telling me about, you know? That power in the tongue, the power of not being able of understanding, like, and giving that grace of knowing that you're standing in your power, knowing your purpose is also being intentional, definitely intentional and mindful, but then also extending grace to those who's not ready to receive what your message is. You understand? I've been in situations where I've listened or found people and I'm like, oh my goodness, who's this woman? And somebody would be like, oh, I could have told you about her then. I could have told you about them then. And I'm like, no, you didn't have to say that, because I know that in this moment I wasn't in a place, or back then when you were told me about this person, I probably was not in a place to receive that person wholly for who they are. You understand? So don't say, oh, I should have told you this before. I should have said, no, it's okay. Tell me about them now. You understand? Yeah. Now that I have my interest, it's like, now that I'm ready to receive, you know, I'm open. Let me know. Yeah. That power in the tongue. Yes. I feel like watching what you say on a daily basis makes a difference in your life. There is life and death in the power of the tongue. Yes. There's things that people say, or there's phrases that we use that we may think nothing of it. But what I've learned was your body and the universe does not recognize the difference of what you're saying opposed to how you're feeling or what you're putting out. They don't know if it's a joke. They don't know if it's, oh, it's just a phrase that we use. They don't understand that. So using phrases, I now had to start stepping back and saying, okay, let me not say brokenness is upon me. You know, everybody likes to say, oh, the two, I don't even want to say it right now, but just being broke, being a black, when you laugh, we're from New York, so you'd be like, ha ha ha, I'm weak. No, I'm strong. I'm not weak. Like I try not to, I try to change my what I say and how I phrase things, because I know that it does come back tenfold to me. You understand? Because that's my intent and my action.
No, that's ooh. And thank you
Yeah,
for saying that specific example, because now that you brought that to my awareness, I think that's a phrase I might really still say. I don't think I say it a lot, but I think I have moments where, like, because you know, the time people would say I'm weak is when they laughing like about something really funny.
yes,
And I'm like,
yes,
damn, I think I still say that. And then it's okay. Like, thank you for making me aware. Like, that's how
yes.
on it we have
Or
to
like,
be.
yes, or the choose violence, or like during protests, I can't breathe. These words are, if it's being said by so many people and there's power of the tongue, look
Yes.
how many tongues are saying the same thing. You know, if we
Yes.
want change in our lives, whether it be personal or on a grand scale, we have to change the way we speak. You know, we have to change the way we talk. We can't really be out here just wholeheartedly saying any and everything. It seems like it's like, oh my goodness, you want to be so serious. Life is not serious, but in the same notion, it's just being more mindful of what you say and how you say certain things, you know?
Yes. And I love that you
Yeah.
brought up the I can't breathe chant, because I was protesting a little bit in the summer, and that's one of the things, like, I got on the mic and I was like, every time you say you can't breathe, you take air away from yourself. You're suffocating. They want you to not breathe. So while you are chanting and making a mantra of that in the collective, you're setting, that's the vibration that you are attracting. And we need air.
Yes.
Like, we need air. And I know that
Yes.
that was something like not everybody was really ready to receive or conceptualize, but for those who are, I had to say it, because I'm not going to be able to get everybody. I might just be
Yeah.
here for one person, and that one person is going to go activate somebody else. And you got to recognize and respect that. And
Yes.
it's really, you have to affirm your life at all times. Like, I was talking
Yeah.
to an old friend, and I told her I got up really late today. She didn't know the full scope of it, but I already affirmed so many times that I'm not a morning person, and so she held me to that affirmation. And thank you for this
Yes.
conversation, because that revelation just came to me, that she was holding me to who I deemed myself to be. Because a part of me was like, got irritated, then another part of me was like, okay, you're irritated by how she expressed that. Just articulate to her, that's your opinion. I don't hold myself to that. Anything can change. And so before, I used to get all bent out of shape, like, no, that's your opinion.
Yes.
I'm not holding myself to that. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It's all love. But I
Yeah.
held myself
It's
to that so
true.
much that
Yeah.
she didn't mean to keep me there, but I had kept myself there for so long. You know what I mean?
So long that she has to make awareness. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's good to have people, your circle around, that's gonna not pull up on you, or if they do pull up on you, you understand that it's from a place of love, and especially if their intention is love. It's like, it's good to have that community of support, you know, of people that's like, oh, you keep saying this thing. Of course, if you keep saying it, it's gonna come out. It's gonna happen that way, you know, like something so simple as like, I've been on a journey with like meditation and just changing my whole life, shifting my life around. And I said randomly, I'm like, oh, did I say it or did I think it? I think I said it, and then I thought it again before I went to sleep. I was like, oh, I think I want to start waking up early, like the divine time, like 4 o'clock in the
Yes.
morning, to try to meditate and just create discipline. That my intention was to create discipline, but what I said was that I'm gonna try to wake up every day, or just wake up early in the morning. I kid you not, Sabrina. The 2 weeks, it kind of changed now, but within those 2 weeks, every day like clockwork, I was up at 6:44. It wasn't at 4 o'clock, but every day, just
Yes.
at this, I needed no alarm. I turned my alarm on just in case, but I needed no alarm. I needed nothing, and it was like wow, just playing out your day and understanding like there's power in your thoughts, there's power in your words, like, and then just also being aware of your openness.
Yeah.
You know, opening yourself up to receive whatever is to come, where it's like, I said I want to wake up at 4 o'clock, but my God, the universe, God was just like, you need a little 2 extra hours of sleep. You understand? Wake up at this time instead. And just having that grace and understanding of openness and knowing like, okay, this is for my highest good and the highest good of all. Not just for me alone, but for everybody else. You know? So like with openness, because I kind of just
I felt that. I felt that too. You're doing it. So you are doing it.
Open. Thank you. First off, thank you for reminding me of that, because I tell people that all the time and they be like, girl, I'm trying to be like, no, you're doing it.
Yes.
So
I totally hear you saying that to people like, no, you're doing it. So just remember it for you, baby. It's okay. It's okay. You're not ready to give. Just receive. You are.
Yes, thank you. And that is a part of openness, being able to receive whatever is to come, because we with what's going on in society now, how everybody is like reconnecting to themselves, I'm looking at it as like I think of it as like a renaissance of some sort.
Yes.
Just everyone coming back to themselves. I feel like what is trending is the positive. It's like the extremes of like really, really good or really, really bad. And I had to realize, realize that there were certain things that I was chaining myself to, certain situations, ideologies, beliefs, thoughts that I was chaining myself to, and it became so routine that it became so part of my life, so normal that I didn't know. It only took like it would only have to take like a huge situation for me to really realize like, okay, Ebony, something's not right here. You know, but now what I realize is like, there's I don't want to say it like that. With the extremes, right? It's either, I tend to see like, and I tend to fall in it too, where it's like positive all the time. You know, life should be happy, joy, which it should, because that is your birthright. However, it's not always, there's always ebbs and flows in life, right? And then there's the extreme sometimes too that I see with like a trauma bond, where it's like trauma, oh, this trauma because of this. And I realize that sometimes people use that as a weapon an excuse to kind of cover up for their actions. Right? So I said to myself one morning, I said, dang, because even with Crew, I was reflecting back on my previous lives and just my previous conversations, and like how you mentioned how I started Crew, I felt like I was supposed to stay in this, you know. And what came up for me was, I don't want to trauma bond anymore. I don't want to bond with anybody or anything that is in a correlation to some type of trauma, because sometimes I feel like, well, I can speak for myself. I tend to create trauma bonds with people, like something so simple as like, all right, you have a group of friends. Let's say one of the group of friends decides they don't want to talk to everybody else no more. And then it goes like, oh, let's be friends because you don't like her and I don't like her too. You understand? And it's like, that's a trauma bond that you're not really opening yourself up to this relationship or this person. Yeah. You understand? Because you're just bonding off of one thing and one thing only, and there's no room for growth when you're locked down to something. So it's just like so what I realized was that just removing those chains of like trauma bonding with a situation because it brought me trauma, bonding from a past situation because I feel like, okay, this is who I am. I'm now embodied the situation where I had a coaching session, and she told me, she said, there's a difference between having an emotion and the experience. And once you're able to kind of separate the two, you're able to fully understand not the reason for the situation, but just understand the situation as it is, not placing judgment, not placing attachment, not placing anything to it. And just, I feel like with me being open, that like me now living in this openness of realizing certain things that I'm chained to, a certain, things that I've bonded with based off of, maybe past experiences or past traumas, I feel like with me being open, it makes me feel more powerful, because now I'm not my trauma. I am not just always happy, joy. I want to also be vulnerable and open with crew, with you, with my sisters, with the world, you understand? And not link it to just only a specific trauma or a specific situation of some sort. So like, how do you feel about like open? Because how do you feel about openness and power? Like,
yeah, and it's just a rehashing of what you really, because everything you're saying is totally valid. Because if you're going to talk about experience, emotion, everybody, we can all be in the same room and not have the same experience. And however your emotion or energy and motion moved, it depended on what your experience, your experience based on what your maybe your age or your race or your sex or your ethnicity, all these different factors and these different beliefs and these different programmings that we have that determine how we feel about a thing, or how we see a thing. Because perception is really, it's just, perception is like, you saw what you saw, I saw what I saw, but we didn't have to see the same thing, even if it was the same thing happening.
yeah,
And
yeah,
just being open to that reality, that just because you felt what you felt or had the experience that you had, that doesn't mean that I had that either, but it doesn't take away from yours either,
yeah,
and
yes,
it's just, you have to be, I feel like you can't live life and not be open to whatever's going on, because it's happening. It's happening.
yes,
And
yeah,
understanding how to create boundaries and how to have, like your own set of standards that would differentiate your experience from someone who doesn't understand that life is going to happen regardless. But once you are well aware of yourself, you have that knowledge of yourself, your purpose, you will be open to receiving what's going on as an opportunity to continue to grow and to learn and
yes,
to elevate, because that's all it really is. And I realized that I used to think like having, like, I'll use it in terms of having an open heart. I used to think that doesn't make sense, because I'm like, look, all these people who hurt me, why would I open my heart so more people can hurt me? But see, I opened myself up to that reality because that's what I believe is only possible now based on the experiences I had, instead of going deeper in myself and really being open to what the lesson was, then I would stay in that trauma. And I just said today to my old friend, I was like, I'm not traumatized anymore. That's not, it's really not a thing for me, because I recognize life lessons. And
yes.
it got to such a point where I was so at peace that I couldn't believe I was at peace. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's because when you're so used to that toxic, relationship, that toxic behavior,
Emotion,
the bond, yeah, whatever it
feeling,
is, you're so used to
belief.
the
Yeah.
bad, that extreme,
Mm-hmm.
that extreme. And that's it's beautiful that you recognize that in yourself, because that's what Scorpio is a very it's a very deep sign, in the sense that those are the deep waters. Those are the waters that, if we're talking about, earth and science and exploration, so few people can really go deep into the waters, because they don't
Yes.
even have the equipment. They don't know what's down there. So
Yes.
imagine being the being that you're embodying this depth and learning to navigate that depth for yourself, but being open to that darkness, but being open to the unknown. And
Yes.
it's there's power in that. There's power in the unknown, because what we do know, we're
Woo.
so dissatisfied with it. So why would you be afraid of whatever is on the other side of your dissatisfaction?
Yeah. Yes. 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 Definitely.
I'm
And
not
it's
even
like
for the ancestors
once you
through.
change your once you change your attitude towards life, everything that comes and goes will be like the waves of the ocean. It will come and it will go. And I realized that I literally lived that last week. I lost my wallet one Sunday, dropped it, and as I'm reflecting, like how the situation happened, it all was supposed to happen. I can say now that it all was supposed to happen that way, right? Lost my wallet and it dropped in the parking lot, and I was panicking. No. Normally, I would panic. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm all over the place. I'd start to sweat. I kept it calm. I looked for my wallet, couldn't find it. Come to find out, left it there. I'm thinking, okay, well, somebody will find my wallet and they'll return it back to me, putting it out there that hopefully it'll get returned. One of my cards I didn't turn off. So that Monday, I had a meditation on that Sunday evening. And it's crazy because the visualization was, we were visualizing this tree. And so said Monday, I ended up at the park, and what I visualized was the tree that I saw. So I was like, oh my God, I was gravitated automatically. I just like, I have to go in. I have to go in the middle, in the center. And as soon as I walked in that shade of the tree, my phone notification goes off. X amount of money spent at X amount of place. So I'm like, wow, this person really found my wallet and really tried to purchase something. Normally I'd be mad, I'd be cursing, I'd be like, I'm fretting up myself. I was just like, okay. Okay. And it felt so, I had that feeling of peace. Yes. Despite the circumstances, despite the situation, that right there had me on a high, that it's like, I don't know if those around me really understood, or they couldn't even recognize it, because I didn't even recognize it myself until I had went to this event, and this 3-day event, and the second day she was like, oh, how's your day going? And I'm like, my day is great. Mind you, I had to go to the precinct. I had to stay at the precinct. They had a whole mix up with a different precinct. They was getting me. Listen, in a past life, I would have been upset. Okay. But I was just like, I could be upset about this, or I can just ask myself what it is that I think I should do next. And if myself tells me to wait, then I'll just be patient. And if I don't know what patience looks like, I can try to do maybe like breath work. I try to figure out little things that you can incorporate into your life that will help you to always stand in your higher self, that powerness of being open to receive God knows what. Because I told my mom yesterday, every day I wake up and I believe in miracles. Everything always ends in your favor. Everything always works in your favor for you and for your highest good and the good of the world. And once I really started feeling it, not just telling myself this in my brain and embodying it, life has been life. But how am I? I am well. I am happy. I am peaceful. I am powerful. I'm sitting in myself. I'm good. I'm good because I know that now I'm aware of okay, yeah, life has its ups and downs. Yeah, you might just lose $500 on the street, but who's to say in a split second you go buy a scratch off and you win $1 million, and I always tell people too, God can't really, and God, universe, divine cannot bless a mess. You have to be able to be open to receive. And sometimes we're not even open because we have so much stuff weighing down on our heart. Speaking of an open heart, this year, I feel like I said to myself this year was going to be my year to really evolve and deepen into my spirituality. And what I'm learning is that all of that is just me digging deeper and deeper into my heart center. Because I agree with you. Open your heart for what? You understand? I don't need no more hurt that I already got hurt on my chest. But I had to realize, in order for me to welcome in new, I had to get that off my chest. I couldn't just live with it anymore. There's no room for new to come if there's just a mess all over the place, you know. That's why I advocate for women, you know, with Crew, I advocate for women to have like crystals, rose quartz, yoni steaming. You know, yoni steaming is really good for the womb. I know you're at a womb circle event, and I know you have information, you know, about womb healing as well. These things are important for wellness, you know, because there's power in wellness and what you eat, what you watch, what you say, what you do, how you take care of yourself. Because I've this year I've had a lot of awareness moments, but I realized that I gave so much to people in life that I didn't even give to myself. And I was empty, and I still was given. That was a miracle. Where I was giving from, even though I was empty within. And I had to realize the importance of literally waking up in the morning, even if it's before the whole household, and spending time with myself, spending time with my thoughts, spending time with like when I tell people about yoni steaming, they're like, oh, 15 minutes is nothing. And 15 minutes is actually carving time out for yourself, you know, getting away from the busyness of life and centering within to see what's going on, you know. So what's going on. Wellness, you know, like wellness and power is like eating well. As I was on these events, and I am a Reiki practitioner, so I had to go through motions of not eating meat or soda, drinking soda, sweets, anything of that nature for 3 days. And I did it consistently because I was going to different events consistently. And then eventually I was like, let me try this for the rest of the week. Because I feel good. I wake up, I'm sleeping deep, I'm waking up, I'm dreaming vividly, I'm experiencing life. I'm able to like see the trees for what they are, and then I just like, oh, it's a tree, let me just go past it, you know. So like just wellness, incorporating mind, body, spirit, like yoga, getting back into your body. I used to be disconnected to my body, and just understanding the power within and saying, listening to yourself, right? And just reconnecting with yourself and saying, all right, I was disconnected to my body. I felt like I was just like floating, and something said, do yoga, try yoga. And back then I didn't listen to my intuition. I used to doubt her. I used to be like, all right, sis, whatever you got going on. But alignment, how alignment works is that all down my timeline after the fact, yoga, all on Facebook, yoga. So I'm like, okay, let me try this. Tried it. Within 6 months, I felt like me again. I felt like I was present. I felt like I was here on this earth. I didn't feel like I was just floating and the days and the time was flying by, you know. It's a lot of power in like wellness and taking care of yourself. Like a lot of people, they tell you all the things that you need to do, and they just say, okay, yeah, take this, take that, and these are the benefits. But it's like, you yourself have to understand that you want to be as well as possible, as healthy as possible in the midst of what's going on, the pandemic or the panorama, like I've seen on Instagram. You know, health is a number one factor. You know, you have to take care of your health. Like what's going on is attacking your life force, which I find very, I don't want to say scary, but it just always like wows me, where it's like, you know, how can we have this thing that's like attacking everybody's life force, but you also need to, you know, but in the same notion, you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, because you can take all the sea moss you want, but if you're not getting sufficient sleep, there's a chance that you may get sick, you know. Like I realized when I used to work, the only time I would rest, or the only time I would be like, all right, I need to really take care of myself, is when I got ill, you know. And you don't want to wait until the end, until the end all be all to say, oh shoot, let me scramble and get these things done. No, when you're already well, you're already well. You know. So what do you think about like wellness and power?
So yes, and you know, this is the affirmation that came to my mind as you began to transition into wellness. Health, you know how we say, you know, your health is your wealth, and your heart chakra, it also is a color. It's a chakra that green and pink are the colors associated with that chakra. I forget which one. There's the upper heart chakra and the lower heart chakra. I forget, which color is which. Nonetheless, green, health, in terms of health, if we think about the fact that when we eat our greens, that is healing to our bodies. It's just about thinking of yourself as if, okay, I am health. I am green. Imagining yourself being that. I am well. I am a well. And it's just so, the way everything flows into each other, like it has this differentiation, because as humans we need to be able to differentiate it to really grasp it in this physical realm of existence. Nonetheless, it is all interconnected. Like, life is really not linear. And wellness, when we were getting to W, I almost forgot that W was for wellness, because I thought about womb, because you're right, I am at the womb circle. And if your womb is not well, as a woman, you will not be well. You will not experience the well of your abundance, the well of your joy, the well of your peace, the well of your love. And it's so real, because I knew, I was, the last few days they were kind of rough, and not even so much because I was having like a rough time. I just was around people who were having a rough time, and I felt that. And so it became a lot. I know I'm due for a spiritual bath right now, and I like started to get like the sniffles, like my nose started to run. I was like, okay, my body needs me to, get it together. And I had slept in, pretty late today. I was out late, and then I got up probably like, maybe I slept for like 10 hours. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, it was a lot.
Oh wow.
And I felt some kind of way, because I was like, man, you can't be doing this, like you was talking about, wanting to get up at the divine time and having that will, we're just making the connections here today. You have will, and you put it out there, and so, something in your mind activated, this is what you desire, so you receive that. And when I had the will to truly wake up at the time I wanted to, there'll be times I set the alarm, I wake up before the alarm. That's how powerful your will and your well is. So if you are, putting that well, you are claiming and affirming and activating your wellness, you will be a well that will overflow like the cup that runs over. And so wellness is really the key to life, because if you are not, if you cannot take care of your physical, your physical element, your earth, because we're on earth, this is our earth, this is what's keeping your spirit here. This is what's keeping your soul into, present to have the experience. So when you neglect that, your experience is never going to be that of wellness, because you are not well. And so how can you have what you are not? And it's just like, it's so deep, and it's so simple at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And like, doing this womb work has changed my life forever. I will never be the same. I will never be able to consciously go back to the way I was without going through all these experiences where I'm just like, what the hell is happening right now? Like, this can't be my life, because I know better, and because I know what it takes to align my mind, to align my body, heart, soul, and spirit. I know when my chakras are, because I'm having this experience, and this is tied to that aspect of myself. And so I need to work on this right here. And, I think people get overwhelmed, and they feel some kind of way when they hear all these terms like, oh, the chakras, and, oh, you're like a hippie, you're into all of that. But no, it's like having the understanding that every experience you're having can be associated with the aspect of yourself that allows you to have clarity for the wellness and the healing that you need to achieve to really experience. And that's powerful. That's powerful, because you, like you said, it was a little bit at a time, and you felt the difference. You was like, oh, this is just little, and I feel like this. I need more of this wellness so that I can be.
It's a high. It's like a high that you never come down from. Like, and even if you have a little down, it's like, I'm feeling good. It's like,
yes. and shout out to Miss Moody. She been in the comments. You know, I've really been focused on being
Yes, I
present.
was reading her.
Yeah,
This
I've been
episode is
focused on being present with your words, but she's definitely tapped into the conversation.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
she's also a divine being, and she's also out here using her throat chakra, and it's beautiful as divine woman to use that throat chakra, especially at this time in our lives, even if that's not necessarily like, I guess, the apex of your purpose. It's still so key because we have been, that has been the aspect of ourselves that has literally been chained, that has been, you know, it has been weakened, it has been you know, manipulated. We have been silent for so long, and I feel that's why I'm getting so much chills right now, because when we really speak up,
I just got a few. I got some,
you know,
chills
like
too.
I've literally been hot and cold this whole time because I feel spirit moving through me to speak. And it's like when we speak up, we change everything, because that means anything can go on. Anything can go on. You can't do that, sir. I mean, I tell you. And I have that divine right to use my throat chakra.
Yes.
I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to express myself, because when I don't express myself, I'm allowing the energy to get stuck in the space. So I'm actually creating blockages. I can't be well if I can't articulate myself, if I can't speak life into myself and my family and my friends and my tribe.
Sabrina, how do you know my life? Because you just spoke my entire, like, you just spoke the entire existence, where it's like I'm now trying to be more intentional with my throat chakra. I have known for months, probably years, that my throat chakra was blocked and my throat chakra was closed. And the depression is what I can say that I got from it. It wasn't as serious as like if someone is like having a depressive moment, but just like being comfortable in the depression and saying, okay, well, I'm gonna let this thing happen. And I'm gonna let this thing happen, because when I used to say things, it would cause me to get in trouble, or would cause a havoc of some sort, or would cause this. And just, yes, the power of using our voices, the power of expressing ourselves. You know, I didn't know what it looked like to express myself. I really didn't. And it was, and when I finally spoke to someone about it, they was just like, let them know how you feel. Like, let them know how I feel. That sounded like the hardest thing in the world, until I started doing it. And when I started doing it, the reactions, because also I used to care about what people think. So and I think that's probably what also, you know, added to me not really saying much. But the reactions that I would get, or like the responses, once I intentionally started speaking, the response to it, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, it just kind of like brushed off of me. And I just had, once again, that overcoming, that powerful energy of peace. Like, like my throat started to feel a little like, woo. And I was like, okay, you can do this. Like, you don't have to just like use your throat chakra to just talk crap about this body or that. You can actually let people know that you didn't like something. You know, I had to, that's something that I know we all can relate to, you know, being silenced in some way, shape, or form, and then having to find our way back to home, you know, within, to that innate feeling of expressing yourself, you know, not just sitting in silence and allowing things to happen to around, you know, you just being able to speak. It's a lot of power. And you're right, where it's like in this right now, on this earth, there are a lot of people that want to silence women. You know, they don't want us to have our power. They don't want us to, and this is something that has been happening over time, like just through history, throughout history, how women have been put on the back burner. Women have been if I could really go, I don't really want to go into it, but women have been like literally silenced. That's what I'm going to keep it as. That's just silence in any which way, shape, or form, from their power taken away from their power, and left with whatever pieces they may or may not have, you know. And just you saying that to me gave me that confirmation of like, I had gotten a reading in 2020 and the woman, she was like, oh, you know, your ancestors are telling you to speak. And I'm like, speak about what? You know? And immediately, as soon as I started crew and I was like, oh, maybe I should go on live. And then and then everything just starts happening in alignment where it's like a whisper about like, speak about this or speak about that, you know?
Yeah.
And then in one of my meditations, well, within the event, it was called Creating the New Me. We met our guides, and it was like a celebration, and the maternal support that I felt. And I was asleep, like I was kind of sleeping in the visualization, but I remember them saying, speak, my child, speak. Speak, my child, speak. That's all that kept resonating in my ear. And I'm like, you know, I felt that reconnection or that reclamation rather of who I am and my voice and what I'm supposed to really do, you know, and how I'm supposed to use my my gifts, like the gift of speaking, use my gifts appropriately and for the good of not only my lineage, but just for the good of all, of the community, you know, no matter what that looks like. So, you know, thank you for bringing that up, you know, with the throat chakra, because I know there's a lot of women out there who may be like, oh, no, my throat chakra is fine. But it's a difference between cursing somebody out and letting them know that they hurt your feelings. Because we could say, oh, I throat chakra was popping, and every other second you cursing this body out, or you telling this body all these you're saying all these violent things to someone because they hurt you, instead of really being open and honest and saying, hey, I didn't like that, or hey, that hurt my feelings. You know, I used to put a mask on and I'm like, no, da, 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 da. And I'm thinking this is what I'm actually telling the person that I didn't like what they did, when it's like, no, really working and releasing that energy and allowing that energy to flow. That throat chakra energy is really opening up yourself vulnerably, you know, to say like, this didn't make me feel comfortable, or this hurt my feelings, or even just crying, you know, just expressing that emotion of what this person could have done, you know, instead of just saying, using it as, or challenging it through anger, you know. I love the fact that you mentioned that. I really do. And just being able to speak my truth and go through, and also too, I feel like the spaces that we create, like you have your spaces. I'm working on creating spaces. This right now is a space for people to use their voice and speak their truth. I feel like it is so necessary, and it helps others to be able to exist more than they resist to certain things. I realize, I'm going to just keep saying, I've been going through this thing, but I really have been going through a very transformational season. And it's just, I've been learning so much, just about like that existing of, or being present in that moment, because I'm guilty of experiencing experiences and then waiting for the next one to give me that thrill of a new experience, you know.
Okay.
Existing on this earth is like how you mentioned before, is literally living in uncertainty of what the day is to come, but still having that faith and hope that, you know, there's a miracle that will happen, you know. Being intentional, but also surrendering to what's to come, whatever it is to come, you know, that unknown. Society teaches us that we have to know. We have to know our past, present, and our future. There's no room for uncertainty. If there's uncertainty, it's not good. And like you mentioned earlier, there's so much power and beauty in uncertainty. You know, we resist I've resisted life, where I used to think, you know, like how I mentioned earlier, my mom was like, oh, you need to be a lawyer. I was like, all right, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to do it. Nothing else needs to come. Blah, 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 blah. Control freak. Living, as I reflect, I was living in a resistance, and that resistance doesn't bring anything but stress to you, you know, and disappointment, because you think things are supposed to go one way, because society's like, you have to know. If you want to go back to school, if you want to go to trade school, if you want to experience a new journey, you have to know what's to come out on the other side. I did a meditation, and one of the we did like cleansing breaths, and the last breath she was like, exhale and release all your expectations of this meditation. And it's like, wow, you didn't even think that you had expectations of the meditation. You know, you think like, okay, I'm gonna go meditate and I'm gonna feel like this right after. You know, and it's like, no, being able to live in an uncertainty brings that power of pure potentiality, that you can do anything, and you have the room to do anything, you have the power to do anything, you have, you know, just being able to be existing and in the present moment. Just knowing like, okay, right now, what I'm doing right now in this moment is preparing me for whatever's to come in the future. I don't need to know what's in the future, or I have a plan in my head, like, okay, yeah, I know I want to be married, have kids, and have a house, but I'm not going to limit myself with the time, because honestly, time doesn't bend for nobody. Time is time, and time will continue to be time, right? And I'm not going to limit myself, period, because there's like, we limit ourselves so much that we don't even recognize that we limit ourselves. We put ourselves in boxes and in turn allow others to put us in other boxes that we may not even recognize. And just having that power of no limitations, of just that pure potentiality, you are able to recognize, hey, you're putting me in a box and I don't want that. That's not who I am. You know, a part of standing in your power, that's not who I am. And I don't have to prove to you who I am. I'm just going to continue to be who I am, and either you understand it or you don't. You know, so just that existing versus resisting. I find myself now all the time in situations when I tend to get a little flustered. The question that comes up to me is, say, are you resisting at this moment? And whatever comes up, if it's like, yes, it's like, okay, well, what do you need to do? What needs to be done right now so that you can legit just exist and be as present as you can be? Because a blessing can be happening right then and there, but if you're too busy resisting, you're not going to see the blessing. You know, you're not going to see it. Being present in each experience is definitely important. Like, so like, what are your thoughts? Because I know you are going to blow me away. What are your thoughts on like the existing, you know, versus resisting in life?
Oof. Everything you said. And I had this revelation actually about a Friday, last Friday, not the one that just passed, but the Friday before, that, like you said, we have these expectations of the experience, and if it doesn't meet the expectation, we feel like somehow the experience falls short. And realizing that the realization that we all have come from the divine source energy, and we are actually living our lives to ascend back into that energy. Like, we have ascended into this physical realm in this body to have this experience, to realize who we are and the power of existence, to ascend back to that divine source energy. And so it makes sense why there are people who, you know, are addicted to drugs, because that high, they know that there is something higher. They know that there is a more elevated sense of being, but they don't have the proper direction or guidance that would allow them to experience and navigate that reality. So there are people who really truly do end up going quote unquote crazy. But then I had somebody also, a spiritual person I also watched, she was breaking down crazy and how it just refers to cracks. It's I forget if it's a Latin word, the root of it is a Latin word or something like that, but you know, I'm also into etymology and really understanding the root of words and where it comes from. And so she alluded to the deeper meaning of crazy going back to cracks. And so there's if we're talking about puzzle, there's cracks between the puzzle, right, to fit it in. And so we're just all piecing it together. But like going more into the concept of existence, it is truly, it's something that is so powerful. I don't even know if I know how to express it, but I know I exist. You exist. And in that existence, there is going to be resistance because, like, going through that uncertainty, the unknown. What am I about to experience with this situation? Is this safe? Can I do this? But being open, being open to receive that experience, knowing your purpose, being well with yourself to know that you are attracting that wellness, that as you are existing, this is the existence that you're going to live. This is the existence that you're going to breathe and that you're going to be in. Because this is what you have already intended, manifested, and you are being what you desire. And so having all of that, and bringing that together, we realize that that is where our existence lies. It lies in how we wake up in the morning. Do we give thanks for the earth, for the air, for the fire, for the water, for our spirits coming back into our bodies? Because some people go to sleep and their spirit just stays, out wherever it stayed, and then they've been deemed transitioned. They just went on some, like, I ain't coming back. Heard you. And and it's and that's what it is. Like, we can feel how we feel about a thing, but it's going to happen. So really, like you said, asking yourself, you have to talk to yourself. Am I resisting? What am I resisting? What do I need to do? And I'm really like working on a program. And for me, the divine downloads that I've been receiving is saying, make sure in your programs you evaluate everyone by asking them their who, what, when, where, why, and the how. Because when we get to asking ourselves these very specific questions, we're going to get very specific answers. And some people aren't really ready to ask the specific questions, but leading them into that. Okay, you can have a general who, what, when, where, why, how, but once you determine what that is and you realize what that is, you're gonna have to go deeper into your existence and ask yourself deeper questions of existence. Because isn't that why we're all here? We're all in this experience, learning the experience, doing what we can to understand the experience and why we're having the experience the way that we're having the experience. And so we're all seeking to understand our existence, whether it be individually or collectively. That is, from what I have experienced in life, this is what everyone is seeking to understand. Why do I exist? What is the purpose of my existence? The purpose of my existence. And we can resist that. And then we see that our life is not what we want it to be. We are not existing the way we want it to be. Or we can accept that and we can receive our abundance. We can receive our truth. We can receive our love. We can receive our joy. And so, yes, I love that you put those two together, existence and resistance, because that's really the two things that are happening in this life. You are existing or resisting. Which moment are you in? Recognize that, accept that, and you can forward back into existence with that, because it's not going to stop regardless.
Heavy on the acceptance.
Just
accepting your existence.
Ooh, yes, bro.
Just accepting the existence.
Up in my whip, like, is what? It's hot up in here. I feel the spirit moving.
Yes, and I just feel like, accepting your existence doesn't mean that you necessarily agree with it. It doesn't mean that it's right nor wrong. It's just like, okay, this is a quote that I got from Deepak Chopra in the 7 spiritual laws of success is, everything is as it is because the universe is as it is. Because the universe is existing right now in this present moment, and we're here in this present moment, everything is supposed to happen and unfold how it should be. I probably misquoted that, but it's fine. Girl, if you guys are already get the 7 laws of spiritual success, because that book is life-changing. Okay, it really truly is.
It is.
And it is. Yes, you read it before.
I know about that book. It's on my book list. So I didn't get it yet, but you know, I've read a lot of other books and they're all saying the same thing in a different way. And that's why I said we're all living this life to really understand the meaning of existence. And, you know, we have these principles, we have these proverbs, we have these ways of professing existence in the way that it has been divinely given to us to express to someone else. And so I love that. Once you said potentiality, I already knew what you was reading. So
yeah.
I was like, oh
yes, the law. I'm telling everybody this law. I'm telling everybody. I'm telling my mama. I was
tell
like,
them the
Mom,
laws.
you have the potential to do anything you want to do. Don't think that because you X amount of age that you feel like the life is over. As long as you breathe it, you got another chance to be great.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. The laws of life. Yes, teach them that.
Yeah.
The laws of life, because
every breath is a new chance to start something new, to start over, to try again, to walk away. To do, you have the power. You have the power of choice. You have the power of will and wellness. You have that power, you know. So just accepting it may be hard, because for me, I've struggled, and I to this day still do struggle with like just acceptance of certain things. Like, all right, recently I have been on speaking of resistance versus existence, I have been on a path of removing myself from a life of grief to actually grieving, so that I don't have to be in that period anymore. I don't know if that made sense. Maybe I should reword it. I'm in the process of grieving. Okay, like I'm in the process of going through of grieving, so that I no longer have to live a life reflected upon grief. So like my brother, he passed away almost 9 years ago, and I thought that amidst everything, I thought that the hole that was in my heart was supposed to just be there. And it's normal, everybody loses their loved ones, and I guess I used to think everybody walking around with a hole in their heart, so it's cool. And eventually it started to really, really bother me, and then I kind of like wrote it away. Like I wrote a letter, and the letter intentionally was to like heal from it, but like I think all I did was kind of like push it away, and when I had gotten my coaching last week, oddly enough, it came up in conversation, even though that wasn't my intention. And she was like, the only way that you can, because she's like, oh, I hear you telling me, every time you mention that your brother passed away, you used to cry, but you're not crying anymore. But does that mean that you're, have you healed from it? And when I sat back, I was like, no. And she was like, yeah, because, especially in the Black women, when you go through situations that causes you grief, the next day you got to go back to work. The next day you got to go back and live life, because of society, you have kids to feed, you have rent to pay, you have this. So society doesn't allow us room to actually grieve and release that emotion of sadness, when we lose something, or we lose a loved one, or lose whatever. And she was just like, there's a song, I Believe I Could Fly by R. Kelly. And I know we're canceling R. Kelly, but I'm not canceling that song, because that's my brother's. That's one of his favorite songs. And she was like, I told her, I said, I don't really listen to it, because every time it comes on, I could be in the store, and every time it comes on, it's like I have to fight. I'm resisting this emotion that's coming up, this bubbling of like hurt and grief and pain and she was like, you try listening to it. Every time it pops up in your ear, every time you hear it, because I would hear it too, like the song in my ear, and I'm like ignoring it, because I'm like, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go through this. And, resisting. And finally she was like, just try it. Just listen. And if you cry, let it come down. If it hurts, you're a Reiki practitioner, so you're able to place your hands on yourself, and within your hands just provide that healing, replace that hurt and whatever's coming up with love and light. And when I did it the first time, after we had that chat, it hurt. When I tell you it hurt me like it was the day of the situation. It hurt. And I'm like, in the midst of me crying, I think once again, just being in a place to be open and receiving, I was able to grieve and say, okay, Eb, where does it hurt? Where is it hurting? And wherever it was hurting, I placed my hand on it, on that place, and I really cried. I really let that hurt go, you know. And it's just like that, once again, that power of peace that comes of being able to exist and say, okay, my life does not have to look, I don't have to always walk around with that hole in my heart, you know. I don't need to walk around and say, oh, life is this way because my brother's gone. I can say, okay, yeah, I actually wrote about it today. This morning I had a little moment, and I wrote out all the things that I was feeling, and I was like, you know, I miss your physical presence, Malcolm. I miss your presence. I know that you are here. You know, everybody says, oh, they're at a better place. Oh, you know, he's always with you. Your guides are with you, and I know he's with me. But I really had to be honest with myself, and in the midst of my grief, all the answers started coming up, where it was like, okay, you miss, you know, I miss your physical presence. I miss you. I miss having you here. I miss hearing your voice. I miss these little things. And just being able to exist in that moment and hug myself and then feel the support of the divine and my guides, it just helped me to, it gives me more of a comfort to be able to like know that, okay, I no longer have to resist this emotion. And I think I'm saying all of this because I feel like if anybody out there is grieving on or in a state of grief, from any experience that has happened to them, you know, it may seem easy to take your pain and transform it into millions, or put it into your work, or put this energy to something else to try to remove it from yourself. But the only way out is in. I had to learn that the only way out is in. And you can put it all into your work. You can put it on into anything and create this beautiful thing. But if the root of it is not based off of, if the root of it is based off of grief, you'll get to the top of the mountain and you'll still have there will never be like a satisfaction of like, okay, I was able to relinquish this emotion or relinquish this thing. Like, society makes you feel that living in grief, living in sadness, living in worry, living in panic is normal, and that is not normal. You're not, like, it's not normal. I had to have people tell me that it's not normal, because I thought it was normal. You know, nobody really has these conversations about grief and grieving situations. People just tell you, and not only for women, if there's men out there, you know, they tell men, if there's men tuned in, they tell men that you have to man up and get through situations and push it to the back or push it away. And that's not really what it's supposed to be. That's not true healing. You know, we want to break generational curses, but we can't. I would prefer us to shift that breaking into healing, because when you break, there's still those cracks, those tiny cracks when you try to put it back together, and those little fine pieces that go missing. But when you heal something, eventually it'll go away. You know, it transfers into something. It may leave a scar, but at least you could look at that scar and say, oh, I healed from that. You know, not, oh, okay, yeah, I figured it out. You know, I healed from that. So I hope that story kind of like helped someone out there with that existing versus resisting. I know, like, I didn't think ever in life that I would ever exist in grieving, you know, because when my brother passed, I just had to go back to work. And I had to take care. My mom was she was more so down and out, and I had to kind of pick up for her, you know. So I never had my moment, that existence, and I never created that existence for me to actually grieve. But now that I'm here, I no longer want to resist. So if I'm here and I believe I could fly, and I'm outside in the supermarket and I feel like tears gotta come, guess what? Tears gotta come. You know, because I no longer want to resist this emotion. I no longer want to resist this emotion, you know. And within that living in existence and being peaceful, that powerful energy of peace, I try to keep that as much as possible. And, you know, rest, how can I put it? Rest is something that I thought was bringing me peace, but it wasn't. Okay, so I know this is something that we could probably all relate to. When I define my worth. I used to. I'm working on not doing it anymore. I used to define my worth on my productivity. If I'm productive, I'm worthy. What I do, my titles is what makes me worthy. What I have written on paper is what makes me worthy. And that's it. So if I'm resting, if my body is tired, like I mentioned earlier, if my body is, the only way I would rest is if I was sick, okay, and I physically could not get up. And I just feel like there's a power in being able to resting that balance of being productive and saying, okay, I did everything that I needed to do, I can rest. I didn't understand that power of rest and rejuvenation until I was challenged with, I was given some homework rather, that to lay in corpse pose and to stand in mountain pose. And as I'm standing in these poses, write out how I'm feeling. So in mountain pose, I was like, oh, I feel silly. I'm just standing outside. I feel like a sim. All these little random things come up. But then when I was laying down, that's when the inner bully came out. And it was like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're wasting good time. You could be doing this. And then my mind just starts listing all these things I need to do. This. And if you don't get up right now and do this, you're going to waste the day. Things is going to happen. And then situations will come and go, like how life come and go. And instead of me saying, okay, this happened because it was supposed to happen, or it is as it is because it is as it is, I would say, oh, it was because of that day that you laid down 5 minutes extra than you weren't supposed to. Or when you lay down and it's just like, whoa. When you write things out on paper, well, for me personally, when I wrote those things out and I read it, I was like, dang, I'm really freaking mean to myself, And then I'm like, where did it stem from? And it's like, I'm still trying to dig deeper to figure out where exactly that whole productivity and worth is stemming from. But once I was able to get through that situation, I now appreciate my rest more than ever. So I can lay down in bed. I tend to honor my body way more. It's crazy, way more than I used to. And people, they always tell me, they're like, oh, shout out to you, you're honoring what your soul needs and honoring what your body needs. And it's like, it's not supposed to be this grandiose thing. It's supposed to be a part of your existence.
Normal.
A part of your existence. Your iPhone goes from 100 to 1. And when it gets to 1, guess what? It's not overextending itself to keep itself alive for you to go stay on Instagram and scroll. It will die right then and there, And we always have that. We always know, like, you have the warnings, 20% left, 10% left. Our bodies do the same thing. We just have to, what I believe we have to do is just be able to recognize it, become aware of it. And maybe you can try what I did, where it's like, if you're really tired, if you wake up one day or if it's a weekend, you're really tired, you don't feel like doing anything, like really and truly, because we have those emotions, and the reason why I ignore them is because people's like, those emotions are not valid. That means you're lazy. You're not doing anything. You're lazy. And it's like, no, it's okay to feel like you don't want to do anything. So I feel like if you don't feel like doing anything, or and you start to get that little like itch and swirl, or maybe if your mind starts to go crazy, write out exactly what thoughts come up for you and read it back to yourself as an observer, not as the person in the situation, but as an observer, and see where it is that you maybe place your worth with your productivity, because I feel like our worth and our rest should be the only thing that we kind of compare, where it's like, I'm well rested, I'm ready for the world, and and just being worthy is our birthright. So I just believe that, there's power in rest. There's power in actually not grinding 24/7, 365, which is, if anybody out here is from Brooklyn, I know they probably like blasphemy, because Brooklyn, we go hard, we don't sleep. Brooklyn always on a grind. But I had to realize that that's not, when you grind something, it becomes fine dust. You grind something too long, it becomes fine dust. You know, and you know what, we have the ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You don't need to be working, and I had to let my mom know that too. You don't have to work until you die. Life is not about just working and going and going and going and being productive until you can no longer be productive on this earth anymore. Resting your mind, resting your body, resting your soul is so imperative. It's so important to your growth, to your like to every and anything that you do. It is so important. I know I would like for you to elaborate on the, resting, rejuvenation, that powerful feeling of just resting, turning off your phone. I know I'm not a mom, so I can't really speak for the mommies, but if there's some way, like if your child likes to nap with her or him, take the time out, carve the time out for yourself, so you can and figure out ways that help you rest. You don't have to necessarily go to sleep or take a nap. You can go to the beach, or you could go in the park, or you could do something that helps to rejuvenate you and your being, and fill your well up so that your well can be overflowing and you can be a well to other people.
Yes, everything you said, and this is something that I've always struggled with. I have tied my sense of worth and value to my ability to, produce, to help this person, to help that person, to accomplish this, to accomplish that. And, now that you actually said, like, you're digging deeper to figure out where that comes from, I feel like a part of it can come from feeling like, because we are not living up to the quote unquote standard of our family or our friends, whatever our parents want, or what we think society believes we should do, we tend to think that we need to overcompensate so that we can prove our value and our worth to those around us. And it doesn't do us any justice when, at the end of the day, if you burn yourself out, if you kill yourself trying to prove that you are when you already are, you will not live a fulfilled life. You will not be well in life, because it is not coming from a place of love. It is coming from a place of fear. Why you won't give yourself what you need. That is basic to human survival. We need food, shelter, and water. Why do we need shelter? Because we want to be able to rest and be in a place of safety and security to be able to rest. So maybe if that wasn't a basic human necessity, the shelter, then I could say, you know what, rest, that's a luxury for the I don't know, whatever. But it's not, it's like, it's a when it's been made clear that this is a part of the basic human need, and you can't give yourself the basics, you can't give yourself what's at the bottom of the totem pole to get to the top, then you're really not going to get anywhere. And you can't get anywhere because you're not giving yourself a substantial part of what is required of you to exist and to flourish in that existence. And it's like, like I said earlier, I wasn't feeling too well. I had the sniffles, and my body today was like, you gonna get this rest, or you gonna get this rest. Like, and I couldn't, I wanted to fight that, but there was, resisting that would have just caused me to still have the sniffles. Like, I feel fine now. I don't feel like I gotta blow my nose. I'm like, and I realized that as we were having the conversation, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't feel like how I felt yesterday. And being present and aware with myself to recognize how I'm feeling on a daily basis. Do I feel better? Do I feel worse? Do I feel the same? Having that awareness. And it's very difficult to have that awareness if you're so scattered all over the place because you haven't given your mind, body, or spirit rest. You won't really be able to know, because you have energy here, you have energy there, you have energy there, you have energy there, you have energy everywhere all around you, but you ain't bring it back to yourself. And so resting, we speak about that even in the womb circle, which, oh my gosh, I almost forgot I was still at. But yes, that rest, when we talk about that, we talk about living in that society where there's the illusion that you have to go 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 until you don't have nothing left in you to even live. It's not even like you can work until you're dead and live. You're not living. You're really not living. You can't live like that. That is survival.
Exactly.
That is fear of not being able to have, not being able to accomplish, not
Root
having purpose,
chakra.
because there's more to life than that. There's just way more to
Yep.
life than that. And if you're not ever going to be able to stop and smell the roses, you're not going to have the life that you desire, that you see maybe somebody else's experience. Like, why can't I get to that? Because you're not appreciating it in the moment. And it can be a simple
Yep.
rest. Doesn't necessarily, I feel like rest doesn't even really mean like, not saying that you said this, but rest does that, because I know people think that rest means like you got to go to sleep and put yourself in the bed. I see people out here on the bench in the park. That's rest. They're
That's
giving
rest.
themselves time. They're giving themselves
Yes.
time to process the experience, to just be,
Right.
like
Yes.
meditating. That is a form. You are giving your body a form of rest from all of the hustle and bustle. There's so many different ways
Yes.
to experience and embrace this form of resting, whatever it is, however that looks for you. But we all need that. We all need to
Yes.
embrace that aspect of ourselves, because if it was possible for us to be on all day, every day, like you mentioned with the phone, we don't hesitate to charge our phone when it's ready to die, but we hesitate to charge
Exactly.
ourselves. So where
Exactly.
they do that at? How does that work? It's not working. Can you say it's working? Because last time I checked, you were a hot mess. So
Yeah.
charge yourself up. You are we're batteries. We're electricity. Dr. Sadie spoke about how our bodies are electric. So we have charge, and we need to charge up. And we know when we need to charge up because we feel tired, we feel exhausted, we feel drained,
And
we
we
feel all
ignore
the
it, and in
things that we
turn,
don't want to feel.
yep. And in turn, we just ignore it and just keep going
Yeah.
because we like, nah, we gotta get to it. And it's like
Yeah.
it is still there, regardless to if you do it today or if you do it tomorrow. Once it is for you, it will always be for you. So divine timing does not work where it's like, and that's another thing I would fall guilty of like the productivity I will do, and then when it's time for me to rest, it's like, dang, is there anything else that I need to do? And I have to tell
Mm-hmm.
myself, like, no,
Yeah.
you've done all the things.
Yes.
Just wait. We think that if we do, if we sow the seeds right now, the bud is going to start coming on. It's like, no, you have to be, you sowed your seeds, you did what you needed to do, and therefore there's nothing more that you need to do. However it plays out, it was already written. There's nothing you can really do to change the situation. Um, yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and how you mentioned with the safe and being safe and financially secure and feeling like you don't have that, you have that will. That sounds like root chakra balancing. I talk about root chakra balancing
Yeah.
a lot, because I realize that I've been in situations, I've lived a life of having of that lack of like, oh no, I'm not safe if I do this, I need to go and do something else, and just that ever growing cycle of doing things that will make me feel safe, but all in all wasn't really safe for me. You understand? Just in that element of, go ahead. I don't know if you were finished. I
No,
didn't mean
yeah.
to cut you off.
No, you're
Oh, okay.
fine.
Yeah. So like suggestions, little tips that you can do to try to just provide more rest for yourself. As Sabrina mentioned, go to the park and sit on the bench and just take in the experience of nature, see the green, see the, as Deepak Chopra would say, see the intelligence of the universe, how everything blossoms, everything falls, everything grows in its own time, in the divine time. And just as the trees and the flowers do, you are the same. We are all connected. We are all one. We are all one. So we all have that same innate intelligence that everything that our soul desires will manifest tenfold. And we don't have to resist. We don't have to push. We don't have to overextend. We don't have to do a million things all the time to feel like we need to get to a position. We're already on our way there. It's just a matter of what you do in this specific moment. So if you could try to be as present as you can with yourself. Carving time out is another thing I wanted to mention. It's hard to carve time out. It's difficult to carve time out for yourself, especially everybody's situation is unique. So I know this, like, you may have the hustle and bustle, but you can start small.
She said her reading.
You can start small. See, you can start small and then move on. Start small with, like, okay, I give myself 5 minutes. Carving time out for your self-care kind of requires a discipline as well. Being able to let others know, like, hey, I need this time. Like, I need this 5 minutes, you know. Please, like, asking for help, like I mentioned in my previous live about support, just asking for that help so that you can have that time for self, because that time with self, for self, is the best. It's the best time that you can ever have in your full 24 hours. It's that time within yourself, that time to observe your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions, that time to set your intentions for the day, that time to manifest or maybe do some shadow work, that time to just sit and be who you are authentically in your presence, in your existence. Just appreciate just having that, carving that time out for yourself. You can start small. It will be uncomfortable, especially if you're not living by yourself, or if you have, like, you know, anything. It's going to be difficult to walk around and establish those boundaries, letting people know, hey, I need 15 minutes for myself. You know, others may not understand it, and that's okay. That is okay. Don't feel like you are wrong. You shouldn't have said this. No, your feelings and what comes up for you, especially ladies, our intuition is our guide. I know we all could say we've ignored her multiple times, you know, but just listening to how your body responds. If something does not feel good, do not do it. If it feels good, do it. You know, if something somebody said to you does not feel good, express how you feel through that throat chakra. We are no longer going to be silenced. We don't want to be silenced no more. We all have the gift to speak, and I want all of us to use that gift. You can do yoga, meditation, yoni steaming. I normally give myself, like, facials. I do, what else do I do? I learned how to do a Ayurveda self-massage. If you guys have not checked it out on YouTube, Ayurveda self-massage, which helps you also be present. So if that's something that you want to probably add to your morning routine, that is a great way to start your morning, because it helps you to really be present within yourself. And yeah, just do what makes you feel good. So ask and be able to keep that communication between yourself, where it's like, hey, I want to do something. I want to rest. What can I do to rest today? Your body, your mind, your soul will already know what it is that you want to do. They already know what it is to desire. And all you have to do is follow through. And once you make that decision, the universe, everything will start to literally circle around you with support, with love, with all that you need. All that you need. You lack nothing. So try to carve that time out for yourself so you can reconnect, reinvent if you need to, embrace your power, because we are all powerful. Nobody is more powerful than another. We all share the same divine power. We are all fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image. So the same power he has, we have that here on earth, and we're all living the same existence, so that we're all here for one innate purpose, but it's just divided by little assignments for everybody else. That's how I look at it. We all here for one thing, and it's just divvied up by each person.
Yeah.
So how I'd like to finish this is two things I want to ask you.
Okay.
Two
All
things.
right.
One, what does femininity look like, feel like to you? And also, what does growth mean to you?
Okay. All right. What does divinity look like and what does growth look like? Okay. I'm gonna try to keep it a little short because I don't wanna miss the next workshop. They're actually about to finish. I just catch them before they go. But
Okay. Yeah, I actually have a meditation coming up at 6 o'clock. I just looked at the
yeah,
time too.
yeah.
So
I'm like, oh my God, I think I missed mad workshops.
I gotta have you back though.
Yes, this is
I
so
have to have you back.
beautiful. I just want to say thank you, before, I answer your questions. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me into this space for the conversation, because it's just what is going to continue to allow us to expand and to ascend in our consciousness and walk in this, this light and this power and this truth and our purpose, open to it, embracing our wellness, existing, recognizing resistance and honoring our rest. So all of that, I love how you put that together. Thank you so, so, so much, because you've given me revelations. You've given a moment to just process these things as we went through this process. So thank you for that. And divinity to me, it looks like
Oh, femininity.
femininity. Okay, beautiful.
Femininity. Yeah.
Femininity, yes. Okay. Femininity, it is receiving, it is beauty, it is nurturing, it is
Mm.
it is ability to feel self and recognizing that feminine energy, because it is a nurturing energy, it is the nature of healing, reflected through woman.
Mm.
And the feminine energy is negative, not in the sense that it's bad, but the masculine is positive and the feminine is negative, because the negative is the void, the negative is the circle, that's the cipher, that's the womb, that's the entirety of the womb-niverse that we are in and encompass and embody.
Sure.
That is femininity to me, is mother nature, as it is called mother nature for a reason. It
Mm-hmm.
Yes, femininity is something so beautiful, and it's been a long time where it has not been honored or revered, and so we are bringing that femininity back. And so gratitude. Your next question, what was the next question?
Growth. So cru is a
Oh,
French verb meaning to grow.
yeah,
So cru is all about growing, healing, all of the things,
yeah,
growth.
yeah,
So what does growth, how do you define growth?
yeah. Growth is recognizing that resistance and then moving forward through the resistance, because there's
Ooh.
resistance in everything. When we think about the roads that grows through the concrete, there was resistance. But how powerful is it
Yes.
that even though this concrete is this thick, dense matter, and this plant that's seen as something that's fragile, that is maybe easy to break, has its own strength. It has the strength to move around the concrete to find the light and go through the crack. That is growth.
Mm.
That is recognizing
Yes.
that there may be something in your way, but if you can't go through it, you can go around that shit. And that is powerful.
Mm.
And we're talking about power.
Yes.
So yes, I want to
Yes.
y'all on that note. And
Yes.
thank you
Thank you
again.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Can I call you Sabrina?
I love
Thank you so
everything.
much, Phonetic Sabrina Wisdom.
Yeah, all of that, all of that. Just I want you to just
Thank
know,
you.
like, you are on your path. You are doing everything that you need to be doing. Your ancestors are so grateful. They are just so happy. Like I feel them just letting me know, like they want me to tell you how happy they are with you and your work, because you're really shifting the paradigm for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your children, for your children's children. That's what's happening right now. And so I just want to say that and just express my gratitude to you for seeing my light, because I see your light.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sabrina. I love you.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say is thank you, and I love you.
I love.
And I'm so glad that, you know, we are here now. Who would ever think, you know, back in Stella Maris that, you know, some years down, we will be here right now talking about power and all the things that come with it. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of all that you are. I am happy. I'm happy to witness and be a part of all that you are becoming. And I love you. I love you, goddess. Like, I really do. And, you know, crew, if you have not already, book your readings with my girl, because she is a tarot. She's a reader. No, oracle. Sorry.
We're all good.
Excuse me. She's an oracle.
Good. You're good.
Reader.
Thank you.
Make sure you follow her, because Sabrina does the footwork, okay? Sabrina is an inspiration to me. I wish I could. She inspires me to figure out where I can start doing some footwork for the community. She does for the community, and we, on behalf of everybody in the community, whether they know you or not, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that you are. And I wanted you to pull a card, but I don't know if we're running out of time. I just wanted you to pull a card for the crew for the week, but if not, that's fine. Just, you know, crew follow.
I was rushing to the womb circle. I was late to the womb circles.
Okay.
I'm like,
so it wasn't meant to be, but but crew, make sure you are following Phonetic Wisdom, because she does go on live during the week. And she pulls a card and she discusses what spirit is asking her or requesting her to discuss. And to Sabrina's loved ones that have joined, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you're following LiveSlayCRU. We have healing tools. We have divine healing herbs, yoni steam, universal herbs. We have crystals. We have everything. We just have sage. We have our choker. We have goddess adornments. Right now, I'm wearing the evil eye, and my beautiful goddess Sabrina is wearing her ocean goddess choker. So we have the Bejeweled Goddess collection. I have some new things coming out. So make sure you guys. Oh, also, sign up for the crew VIP. You'll get a free crystal kit on us. You guys enjoy your week. Be intentional. Carve time out for yourself and recognize, be aware, and stay rooted in your power, because you are a powerful being. I will see you guys another time. Well, soon. And I will see you soon, Sabrina. Love you.
Yes, love you, Queen. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. Gratitude.
Yes. Gratitude.